teacher asks, Johnny, why is there only one sentence in your essay about New Year's resolutions? I will eat more vegetables, Johnny replies, because I promised myself that this year I would only tell the absolute truth. At Grandma gives Johnny $20 for the new year. Johnny looks at it and says, Grandma, the inflation from 2025 ate half of this bill before you even pulled it out of your wallet. Maybe we should switch to gold bars with Mom in the kitchen. Mom, Johnny, starting tomorrow we're all going on a healthy diet. Johnny, Mom, the new year is a time for forgiveness, so let's forgive the chips for being delicious and just leave them alone. Teacher, Johnny, it's a new year and time for new challenges. What is 5 plus 5? It was 10 last year. Did 2026 come with a software update I don't know about? Johnny, take out the trash. I can't, Dad. I'm currently testing the power-saving mode on my body. It's my main resolution for January. In front of the mirror, Johnny looks at his reflection and says, Okay, Johnny, you have to be smarter this year. After a moment, he adds, but let's not overdo it, or my friends won't recognize me. Talking to a friend, Johnny, what did you get for Christmas? Switch, but a high-tech one with Bluetooth, so I can hear Dad's warnings, even from the other room. In church, the priest talks about a fresh start. Johnny whispers to his dad, Dad, does a fresh start mean that my failing grades from last semester were automatically deleted too? Johnny, you spend too much time in front of the screen. Dad, I'm just checking if the internet in 2020 works faster than your promises of increasing my allowance. Johnny, wash your ears for the new year. What for? So I can hear more clearly when you tell me to clean my room. I prefer staying in do not disturb mode. On the morning of January 1st, little Lily walks up to her mom and asks, Mom, what is your biggest New Year's resolution? Mom smiles and says, You know, sweetie, this year I've decided to yell at you much less, to be more patient, and to let you have a lot more fun. Lily's eyes open wide with delight, but after a moment she narrows them suspiciously and asks, Okay, but what will you do if I decide that I'm not gonna clean up my toys at all, and that I'm only gonna eat chocolate? Mom sighs and answers, In that case, honey, my second resolution will be to stick to my first resolution, at least until lunch. It was New Year's Eve, and little Johnny was determined to make it the most memorable night ever. His teacher, Mrs. Higgins, had assigned an essay titled How I Welcome the New Year, and Johnny wanted some high-quality material. At the Johnny's household, his dad, Mr. Miller, was acting like a professional pyrotechnician. He had bought a massive firework kit called the Super Galactic Mega Blaster. Meanwhile, Johnny's mom was busy making sure the potato salad had the perfect ratio of mayo to everything else. At 11:50 p.m., Johnny approached his father. Dad, why do we shout Happy New Year exactly at midnight? Johnny asked, trying to put a party hat on the dog, because it's a fresh start, Johnny. Everything goes back to zero. His dad replied, struggling with a stubborn fuse, That's great,
Johnny grinned. Does that mean my F's in math disappear too?
As the clock struck midnight, the sky exploded in colors. Mr. Miller, wanting to be the hero of the neighborhood, decided to launch the biggest rocket. Unfortunately, instead of heading for the stars, the rocket took a sharp horizontal turn, zoomed over the fence and flew straight through the open window of their neighbor. Mr. Johnson had been peacefully watching the countdown in his pajamas. The next day at school, Mrs. Higgins asked, "All right, class, who wants to share?" "Johnny, you always have a story. How did you welcome the new year?" Johnny stood up with a serious face. "Well, Mrs. Higgins, it was a very moving experience. My dad sent some warm greetings to Mr. Johnson via airmail. Mr. Johnson was so touched that he ran over to our house in his slippers and spent 30 minutes shouting words that aren't even in our English textbook." "Oh dear," gasped the teacher. "And then what happened?" "Well," Johnny continued, "Dad promised Mr. Johnson new curtains. Mom promised Dad at a divorce, and I promised myself to always stand closer to the emergency exit." Mrs. Higgins sighed. "And do you have any New Year's resolutions, Johnny?" "Yes, ma'am, I've decided to become a firefighter. Looking at my family, I realize it's a job with a very bright future." It was New Year's Eve, and little Lila was sitting on the sofa with her new puppy Buster. Her dad, wanting to teach her a lesson about the holiday, sat them both down for a serious talk. "Lila," Dad said, "at the start of a new year, everyone must make a resolution. It's a promise to be a better person. For example, I've decided to stop eating junk food, and Mom has promised to stop spending so much money on shoes. What about you?" Lila thought for a moment, looked at Buster chewing on a slipper and said, "I promise to pick up Buster's surprises from the backyard every single day." Dad was very impressed. "That's my girl, very responsible. And what about Buster? What is his New Year's resolution?" Lila leaned down, whispered something into the dog's ear, and then burst out laughing. "Well," Dad asked, "what did he say?" Lila looked at Dad with a mischievous grin and said, "Buster says his resolution is to stop going to the backyard entirely and start using the rug in your home office." Dad turned pale, Mom gasped, and Buster barked happily, looking exactly like little Johnny's dog would after a successful prank. "Don't worry, Dad," Lila added, "think of the bright side. At least I'll save time on the commute to the garden." It was the first morning of 22. Little Silly sat on her bed looking like someone had stolen her favorite lollipop and replaced it with a piece of broccoli. She was genuinely heartbroken. Big tears rolled down her cheeks as she stared gloomily at her bedroom wall. Suddenly, little Johnny burst into the room wearing a crooked party hat and a grin that stretched from ear to ear. "Silly, why the long face? It's New Year's Day," he shouted, doing a clumsy victory dance. Because Silly sobbed, "It's all a big lie. They promised everything would be new starting today." Johnny scratched his head, looking confused. "Well, isn't it?" "No!" Silly cried, kicking her blankets. "I woke up and checked everything. My slippers still have the same hole in the toe. My teddy bear is still missing his left eye. And worst of all..." "What?" Johnny asked, trying not to laugh. "I looked in the mirror and I'm still the same. Silly, I thought in the new year but I still just have a runny nose and a messy room. Johnny leaned against the door frame and let out a loud snort. Silly you goose, the year is new, but you're a classic. You don't replace a classic with a newer model. Now come downstairs, Mom made New Year's cocoa. That's the only new thing that actually cures sadness. Silly wiped her nose with her sleeve, gave a small smile inside. Fine, but if the cocoa is cold, I'm going back to 2025. On the first Monday after the winter break, Mrs. Higgins decided to start the lesson with a bit of inspiration. Class, she began with a bright smile. It is finally January 2026. A new year means a fresh start. Who would like to share their New Year's resolution with us? Alice raised her hand immediately. Mrs. Higgins, I've decided to go vegan and start training for a 5K run.
That's wonderful, Alice. The teacher beamed.
Then Toby stood up. I'm gonna read one classic novel every week to improve my vocabulary. Excellent, such a scholar. Mrs. Higgins was delighted. Finally, she noticed Tommy, who was leaning back in his chair, staring blankly at a fly on the wall. And what about you, Tommy? Do you have a resolution? Perhaps you'll finally start turning your homework in on time. Tommy slowly looked at her and said with total seriousness, "Actually, ma'am, I've decided to become a philanthropist and a champion of the local economy." The classroom went silent. Mrs. Higgins, looking confused, adjusted her glasses. That sounds very sophisticated, but how exactly do you plan to do that? At that exact moment, Principal Miller walked into the room holding a disciplinary notice. Tommy sighed, started packing his bag, and replied, "I've already started, ma'am. I spent my entire lunch break paying a 5th grader to eat my Brussels sprouts so they wouldn't go to waste. And now I'm off to buy my dad a very expensive coffee, so he's in a good mood when he hears why the principal is calling him." It was the second day of January. Johnny and his best friend Stan met at the local park, though they had no intention of actually playing on the swings. They sat on a bench, hunched over their phones with expressions as serious as generals planning a final offensive. "So, Stan," Johnny asked without looking up from his screen, "did you survive the New Year's transition?" Stan sighed so heavily, it sounded like a server fan dying. "It was brutal, Johnny. My parents went full analog on New Year's Eve. They made me shut down the console at 10 p.m. because they wanted to celebrate the arrival of a new era as a family." Johnny raised an eyebrow, the universal sign of deep sympathy. "And did you celebrate?" "Yeah." Stan muttered, "We played board games like made of cardboard, Johnny. No processor, no 4K graphics, not even an online multiplayer mode. I had to look my dad in the eye while he took my last property in Monopoly. It was a total survival horror." Johnny nodded understandingly. "Mine wasn't much better. My mom announced a New Year digital detox. She said that in 2026 kids should spend more time outdoors developing their imagination." "So, what did you do?" Stan asked, intrigued. "I used my imagination, obviously." Johnny smiled triumphantly. "I told her that according to the latest educational guidelines, Roblox isn't a game, it's an advanced urban planning simulator, preparing me for a career in architecture and first-person shooters. That's just hand-eye coordination training for a future surgeon." Stan looked at his friend with pure admiration. "Did she buy it?" "Oh, she let me play for 2 hours, but only if I promised to